What is going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel. Today I'm going to be showing you how to install underbody lights on your Mazda B2000 or B2200. This video is going to be a bit of a guide, not so much in exactly how to, like our Nissan hardbody video. But if you want to check that one out, I'll link to it on the top so you guys can go and check it out. When I got my Mazda, I did the lights, and I did the lights before I had this channel, so I didn't get a chance to record any of that. But the Nissan hardbody one was an improvement over the initial setup that I had on my Mazda. So with these tips and tricks, you're going to be able to do this one on yours way easier and faster than I did it the first time. So let's go ahead and get to it. I have my truck back here. So I'm going to go ahead and show you what I did for the front, sides, and the back. Some of the tools you're going to need is going to be just basic tools, kind of a drill, with a drill bit, some L shapes, and some aluminum flats. So my name is Brian, and this is Flake Garage, and let's get right to it. Alright guys, so here we have my Mazda, and I'm going to show you how to get the front part, the sides, and the rear of it set up for these lights. Everything I'm going to be talking about, the light kit, and probably some of the tools I use and everything, I'll link to it in the description so you can check that one below. But let me get under here on the bottom and I can show you real quick what I did. Alright guys, so we are looking here through the top at the front of the truck. Obviously if you have AC or power steering, your engine bay is not going to be this clean or this empty on this side. But if you can see down there we have our aluminum flat, and it goes all the way to the other side, and the L-shaped bracket is being held in place by a bolt that comes factory in the front of the truck. There's two almost perfectly aligned on each edge of the front, so all you need to do is just take those two bolts out and put your L-shape, put your lights in place, and then bolt it back up. It's a no-brainer. You don't have to drill anything, you don't have to worry about doing anything in there. It's already all in place. So use those two to hook up your lights there, and then we can move on to the side and I can show you guys how to do that one. Now initially when I first did the install on this truck, I kind of made my work harder by doing the L-shaped mounting into kind of the cap mounts. And if you saw our Nissan hardbody video, you saw that we did just two holes on the side rail, put our L shapes, and then put our light hooked up that way. That's honestly going to be your best way to go. I'll roll a little clip of the hardbody install in there just so you see what I mean in case you didn't see that video. But actually figure out that it's going to be easier for us on the drill and everything if we just make some small holes here. You see our dot? We're going to basically drill a hole through this little side, drill another one back here, and then use our L shapes to hold it like this. So our bar is going to be right here on the top. That way we don't have to cut anything, and it actually can go straight all the way to the back without interruptions. That's the best way to go. That's going to be your easier way to install on this side rails. But here, let me show you real quick what I did for mine. Have my light here. It's a little dark under here, but if you can see, my light's running all along the side here, all the way to the front, and it's being held in place by the cab mounts and L shapes on this side. But like I said, just drill one hole here, one hole over there towards the front, and then put your L shapes in place there. That's gonna be honestly the easiest way to go about doing your side mounts, because then the other way is just too complicated to get your drill in there and try to do any work. So do that. That's gonna be way better. Alright guys, so we are now at the back of the truck, so we're gonna get under there and then I'll show you exactly what I did to hold it in place. If I would have gotten in the initial 4-foot long aluminum flats like we did on the Nissan install, this would have been a lot easier. Initially I got 3-foot long ones, and that's where I learned from my mistakes, and that's what we did it better on the Nissan install. But let me show you what I did. But go with the 4-foot flats. That's gonna be just perfect for all the lights that you need to install, and then that way you can just cut it to the size that you need. Alright, so we are now under the back of the truck, and then let me see if I can focus. Here it's a little dark. If you look closely over here, I have basically the same L-shaped bracket in here holding my aluminum flat. This was made from another extra pieces that I had of just kind of really thin metal, and it's gonna be the same way all the way on the end back there. Just did those little L shapes and basically just drilled on the edge of the frame itself. This is the back and the very end of the frame that's holding the bed in place. I just drilled a little hole in the side here, same thing on the other side, and then put my L shape, put my bolts in there. Before I did that as well, I made sure I painted it just so there's no rust getting in there. So right here the autofocus is going a little crazy. And then that way I was sure there was going to be no rust, everything was going to be good if any water got in there. But then you see my lights running all across to the other side over there. I mean, that's all you need. Now for the wiring itself, here you can see the wiring is kind of going in here and coming out and going that way. I basically ran the wire all along the frame as well. Let me try to focus in here. Oof. It's doesn't have me in place, so it's kind of having a hard time. So if you see right here, the wire's running through the top. Basically the wire's running all along the frame, following all the way to the front. And that's what I did for the back one. For the back and the side, they're both coming inside this little fender guard or fender liner. I'm sorry, I was missing the word there. So they're running all along the fender liner to the top here, and then coming out this side right here. That's two of them. My front one obviously is running here towards the front, connecting at the bottom. I made sure all the excess cable was nice and tight up here so it wouldn't be just dangling. And then the way I ran my driver's side, as you can see, my cable is running right along here. It's not the prettiest, but it's also the one that has to kind of go the longest across because the box is on the passenger side. So that one also goes into this hole here in the fender, comes right down, also protected by the fender liner, and then just runs along the side on this side. From there, like I mentioned before on my amp install video, if you have the Weber carb, you can clean up this whole area. I had someone message me asking for a video about how to clean this whole thing up, so hopefully I'll be making one of those for you guys later. But we are running all the cables, the amp and my lights, into the same plug. Everything's here is nice and protected with some electrical tape, so make sure no water gets in there, and then just goes straight down in there. Let me jump inside the cabin so I can show you guys what I mean inside of there. Now if we get inside the cabin, here it might be a little bit dark. Let me get my light real quick. Okay, we are back, and basically if you remove this piece, all our cables are going to be right there. I didn't remove it right now. I mean, there's really all the cables just come out through back there, just lay here. Now the power wire, you can run it directly to the battery, but I don't want to do that. I don't want to have power all the time. I had a set of lights before that's what I did, and they do turn on and off with the remote that you get, but I did notice that sometimes there was still a little bit of power going to them even though they were supposed to be off. So there's like a slight faint kind of like light coming out of them, and eventually that kind of burned them out a little bit. So the way I did it for this one is I used the provided cigarette lighter for now. Right now I pulled it out so you guys can see it, but basically this cable has a little plug, and here is where you plug your cigarette lighter kind of power source. This all comes in the kit, and then I decided to go with this just to make sure it was going to be off when the truck was off. eventually what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna install this voltmeter slash USB power in place of my cigarette lighter up here. So then when I do that install, then I'm gonna install the lights directly to this, because the power is gonna be off when the key's off, and that's what I want to make sure the lights are not staying on for no reason. So really that's all there is to installing underbody lights on your Mazda. And just to do a quick recap, buy yourself some 4-foot aluminum flats, some L shapes, couple nuts and bolts to install everything. Make sure you have a drill and a good drill bit for the size bolts that you're going to use, and use the 2 on the front to make your life easier when it comes to installing the front light. Besides that, all you need is just the light kit, possibly an extension for the light kit, which I'm going to link to everything in the description, so don't forget to check that out if you need to, or leave me a comment if you get stuck anywhere else during your install. That's all we have for today. If you notice too, we have a bit of a different background here. We have a new garage, but hopefully we're gonna be coming out with more great content for you guys. So hit that like or hit that subscribe button if you like what we're doing, and stick around, and hopefully you'll see more mini truck videos and any other cars that we got coming up. So thanks for everything, guys, and we'll see you guys on the next video. Bye.